Real facts.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Facts Are Facts podcast. I'm your favorite host, Broadway K, and I'm here live, man, to talk about trade season. You know, man, it's been a lot of trades happening. I don't know if some of these GMs are drunk. I don't know what's going on, but let's just dive into the trades, man. It's been a few trades that have happened in the NBA. Let's start off with we're gonna start off with the Cleveland deal. Cleveland trades DeAndre Hunter to the Sacramento Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. A lot of people are really high on Keon Ellis. I'm not that high on Keon Ellis. He's a POA defender, which everybody likes, which is cool. They also get Dennis Schroeder in this deal. And this is how I look at it. This is a win-win trade for Cleveland. DeAndre Hunter was playing like trash this year. He was shooting like 41% from the field and 30% from three. And this is the problem with those quote-unquote 3-and-D archetypes. DeAndre Hunter is an overrated defender, so he was never really a great defender like that. But he is a body. Like he's an actual guy that has the body where he can guard a 3 and a 4. So he's not necessarily a guy who will get hunted, but he's not really that good of a defender. But when that three-point shot goes away and you playing with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, then it's like, you don't really have that much use. Keon Ellis, he's a really good shooter. Really good catch and shoot guy. And the real reason why I think they do this trade is because Lonzo Ball has been a disaster in Cleveland. He's averaging 4 points and like 3 assists, but he's shooting 30% from the field and 27% from three. Can't have that, man. It's absolute garbage from Lonzo Ball. It makes the Bulls trade look a little bit better. Kind of crazy considering people were like apparently willing to trade first-round picks for Lonzo, but I don't really know if that was actually true, given the hindsight. And then let's just stay on Cleveland for now because they also traded Darius Garland for James Harden. I don't understand this trade at all because, like, I understand if you wanted to go with a more two-way type wing. Like, if they were to trade Darius Garland for Jalen Suggs, I probably still wouldn't have done that, but at least it makes sense. Like, okay, in my opinion, Jalen Suggs is the best guard defender in the NBA. He can do it all. He can harass you full court. He can get through screens, be a screen navigator. He can guard up a little bit, even though he's like 6'4", 6'5". Just a great defender. That trade, I wouldn't have done it, but it still makes more sense because it's like, okay, now we have Donovan Mitchell, who's going to have the ball in his hands, and we have one of the best guard defenders in the NBA, and you pair that with Jalen Tyson, who's shooting the leather off the ball, and then you still have Mobley and Allen. It kind of makes sense. But to get James Harden, it's like James Harden is not as fast as Darius Garland. He's going to dribble the air out the ball. James Harden is not efficient. James Harden right now is shooting 42% from the field and 35% from three, and I'm rounding up on both of those. It's really like a shade under 42, a shade under 35, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and round up. The raw numbers look pretty good for Harden. He's always going to get his raw numbers. He's a volume guy. I think this was a weird trade for Cleveland. I guess you can say Harden is not going to get attacked as much because he's not as small a guard as Darius Garland is. So I guess you could kind of go with that, but Darius Garland is almost 10 years younger than Harden. So I would say this is a weird trade. Good trade for the Clippers because they probably weren't going to pay Harden anyway, so you get a young Darius Garland to at least like reset the deck. Kawhi Leonard is kind of old. Zubac is 30, which is kind of surprising. It seems like he's a lot younger than that, but he's 30 years old. So, you get some youth on the team for the Clippers. I kind of like this trade for the Clippers. Cleveland, I don't understand it, but I at least understand they think going into a playoff series, Harden will get attacked less than Darius Garland. So then another trade I want to touch on. Jaren Jackson gets traded to the Utah Jazz. They give up 3 first-round picks. So from the Grizzlies standpoint, I totally understand what you were trying to do. The Grizzlies are like, hey, we just got 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. We just got 3 first-round picks for Jaren Jackson, and they really, the only thing is they didn't get any good players. Like, you got Walter Clayton. He may be good, but maybe not. He hasn't proven that he's a good player. Taylor Hendricks is not good at all. I just don't really understand that trade from the Grizzlies' point of view, but I guess you stockpile assets. Maybe they go get a big fish. But I also hear that they might be trading Ja Morant. So I guess it kind of depends what they get back. If you can land like a Tyler Hero or something like that for Ja Morant, which I would think would be dumb if my Heat did that, but that's the reality. It actually might happen. Then it's like, okay, now you got Tyler Hero, Cedric Coward, Jalen Wells, Zach Edey, and then you have all of these draft picks, at least 7 from that deal. So I get it. At least they have a direction. They wanted picks. They got a bunch of picks for Bane and Jaren Jackson, and Jaren Jackson was kind of having a down year. From the Jazz perspective, this is what I think the Jazz mindset was. Their mindset was like, hey, we've been tanking for about 4 years now, and we ended up with Cody Williams and Taylor Hendricks. Their best draft picks actually come from dudes they got outside of the top 10, and Walker Kessler, who they got via trade in the Rudy Gobert trade, and Keontae George. So the tanking stuff hasn't really resulted in a blue chip player for them. Isaiah Collier, Keontae George, and Walker Kessler were all players that got outside the top 10, but then they spent high draft picks on Cody Williams and Taylor Hendricks, and you're just not going to win with that. So they're like, hey, man, look, we obviously are missing the boat with drafting in those top picks, so, give us a player we know is good. Jaren Jackson is the defensive player of the year. He has rebound issues, but if you think you can re-sign Walker Kessler, the rebounding is not going to be an issue because Walker Kessler can rebound the ball. So Jaren Jackson, all he has to focus on is protecting the rim and scoring the ISO, which he does really well. He will be on a really good space team. Walker Kessler actually showed a little bit of ability to step out and hit the three. I don't know if that's going to be real, but Jaren Jackson can hit the three a little bit. Lauri Markkanen is probably the best off-ball shooting player at his height in the NBA, and then Keontae George is just a demon-level pull-up shooter. And then you have one of the best bench shooters in the NBA in Bryce Sensabaugh. So the team will be spaced out. Jaren Jackson can abuse smaller defenders and ISO. Lauri Markkanen is a great driver to the basket. This is a good deal, I think, for the Utah Jazz. Really still a good deal for them. I like it. Now, there's been another trade where the Wizards traded for Anthony Davis. I get the logic. You got Trae Young. You got the young guys. You still have Bilal. You still kept Bub. You still kept Keyshawn George. You still kept Trey Johnson, but you land Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, if he's healthy, this is a home run trade. You basically just gave up salary filler and 2 first-round picks. A.J. Johnson wasn't going to get no minutes on this team. Chris Middleton is at the end of the road. Good trade player value-wise. I just don't know if Anthony Davis is actually going to play like that. So I would say the trade is a wash. It's terrible for Dallas because you essentially punt on the idea that this was a good trade in the Luka trade. So you get 2 first-round picks back, but both of those picks are going to be outside the top 20. So not really that good. I would have at least tried to see what I have in Kyrie and AD with Cooper Flag before I just traded him for picks. That's just me. On the Wizards, hey, AD's getting $54 million next year, so you kind of got to be ready for that. Now, the next trades are dominated by the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls actually traded Kevin Huerter, and in return, they got Jaden Ivey. In the deal, they also got Mike Conley, so they got some draft compensation for that, and like pick swaps for the second round. You take a flyer on Jaden Ivey. Okay, I understood that at the time, but then after that, the Bulls trade Vucevic for Anthony Simons in the second round pick, which is an interesting trade. I don't really see the value in trading Vucevic if you're not getting a wing defender. They already have enough guards, especially after you add Jaden Ivey. You already have Trey Jones. You already have your star in Giddey, and you have Ayo. What's the point of? I don't understand that. But you do get the pick. So if you reroute Simons, it makes sense. But if not, that's kind of a weird trade. And then after that, they do a awful trade and trading Kobe White to the Hornets for Colin Sexton and Ousmane Dieng with 3 second-round picks. Now, you essentially, this is my problem with the trade. You might as well have kept Kobe White because at least you know Kobe White, you know his character. Kobe White and Colin Sexton are very close as players. I would say Colin Sexton is a more efficient version of Kobe White. So Colin Sexton gets downhill better, gets to the bucket, better finisher at the rim, and their shooting is Kobe has a higher volume. Sexton is more efficient, but Kobe does rebound the ball better, and he is bigger. So, but Colin Sexton is like a more aggressive defender. So it's kind of a wash, but it's like, why not just go get an actual wing defender in the trade for Kobe, a player that you can actually keep and then get picks? You could have probably traded Kobe White to the Spurs and got Jeremy Sohan and picks. The Kobe White would have given the Spurs guard insurance in case anything happens to De'Aaron Fox. Sohan isn't playing anyway. You could have probably found a way to take Sohan and fill his salary in a wash and got rid of Kobe White. But you traded Kobe White basically for an opportunity to trade the player you got in return. So now if you reroute Colin Sexton, okay, I guess it makes sense, but it only makes sense if you address the need. The Bulls' needs right now, you don't have Vucevic. Zach Collins has been hurt all year. Jalen Smith is 6'8". You need a center, and you need a wing defender. If you watched any Bulls games all year, the problems with them has when they go against a big wing, the guy can pretty much get fouled or get to the line or get a bucket at the rim every time because he's being defended by Isaac Okoro or Ayo or, an undersized guy. They need a Tari Eason, Jeremy Sohan type of player. So this is just the way I think, right? If you know you need a certain archetype out there, you getting all these second-round picks in these deals, why don't you attach those second-round picks to try to get a Tari Eason or get a Sohan? Now you know, okay, this guy going into the game, this guy can actually guard a big wing. So when you're playing against the Orlando Magic, who's in the same conference as you, when you're playing against Donovan Mitchell, who's not necessarily that tall, but he bullies a lot of people. When you're playing against Cade Cunningham, you have these bodies that can actually defend them size-wise. Montes can maybe be that eventually, but he's not there now. Right now, he's a help side guy. So to help him be better at help side, get a better lockdown defender. There's plenty of guys out there, and I thought the Bulls, they were just doing a bunch of trades hoping that they could trade again, when I'm pretty sure you could have, if you put draft capital together, you could have got probably Tari Eason if you included Jalen Phillips as some type of draft capital. You could have probably got Hugo Gonzalez or Jordan Walsh for like a Kobe White type player, and then you still get the picks. You know what I mean? You can trade Kobe White, but at least get, even if this is not the archetype you want in the long run, you get the archetype for now so you can see how it looks. You get one of those hellacious on-ball defenders that can really muck up the game, give you some weak side rebounding, low man help. And now you're like, okay, we know who's the ball handler on the team. You got Giddey. Right now, Montes Buzelis is looking like he's going to take that leap, and then Jalen Smith has been playing solid ball. When you get Zach Collins back, it's like, okay, but you need a shot blocker and you need a wing defender. That's what this team needed. So, in my opinion, what they should have done, Kobe White has underperformed this year. This is where you would be able to lowball Kobe White and tell him, look, man, we can give you $22 million a year. All right? So we can give you 3 years, $66 million, and have the third year be a team option if you want to play your contract out and see if you can net a big deal. But right now you haven't earned $30 million. There's no way Kobe White can play like this and say he's earned more money than Josh Giddey got last year. It's not going to work like that. You don't deserve 25 million with the way you've played, with the high turnovers and the out of nowhere dip in the shooting and the injuries and everything like that. You were better off just re-signing him, and maybe you could have still flipped him if you wanted to, or you could have just kept him and addressed the actual needs for the team, center and wing defenders. So I really don't like what the Bulls did, but I will say if you reroute Anthony Simons and you reroute Colin Sexton and you bring back a Tari Eason type player or a Ivica Zubac type player or a Eve Missy type player, then it starts to look like, okay, we got a center, you got Zach Collins still on the roster, you got rid of Herter, and you got something in return for that. You got these second-round picks. Now you can kind of position yourself. If Portland makes the playoffs, you got 2 first-round picks this year. You can kind of build the depth out on your team. So those are the trades that have been made so far. The Utah Jazz also just traded Lonzo Ball and 2 second-round picks to the Utah Jazz. They did that to just shed money. They're saving a lot of money with the DeAndre Hunter deal. They're going to save money losing Lonzo Ball. The Jazz are expected to waive Lonzo, so we don't know what his future holds. But at the end of the day, I think a team could take a flyer on Lonzo, a team like the Rockets or something like that. Take a flyer on Lonzo. He hasn't been shooting the ball well, but he's still going to give you effort and defense. And as a minimum signing, why not? Denver Nuggets, look out. So that's all I got. This is just going to be the episode that covers the actual trades. Now I'm going to cook up in the trade machine on the next episode to show you guys what I would do if I was these teams. So thank you guys for listening. This is Facts Are Facts. Peace and love.
That's real.